Right now, it might feel like everything is stuck, like nothing is changing, no matter how hard you try or how much you pray. You wake up thinking about it, you go through the day carrying it, and at night it's still there, heavy on your mind. It can start to feel like this is just how life is going to be from now on. But this moment you're in is not the full story of your life. It's just a chapter, not the ending. There have been seasons before this one, and there will be seasons after it too. Sometimes when you're in the middle of something difficult, it feels permanent because you can't yet see what's ahead. But God doesn't see your life the way you do. He sees the beginning, the middle, and the end all at once. What feels like a dead end to you can actually be a turning point. Even if nothing looks like it's changing yet, things can shift in ways you didn't expect. Don't let a temporary situation convince you that your future is already decided. It isn't. Worry has a way of pulling you into endless thinking. You replay conversations, imagine worst-case scenarios, and try to figure out every possible outcome. It feels like you're doing something, like you're trying to stay in control, but in reality, it only drains your energy and peace. The more you think about it, the heavier it gets. And yet, even after all that worrying, nothing actually changes. The situation remains the same, but now you're exhausted on top of it. Surrender is different. It doesn't mean you stop caring or that you give up. It means you stop trying to carry what was never meant for you to carry alone. It's a quiet decision in your heart, where you say, God, I can't fix this by myself. And that's not weakness. That's honesty. When you release control, even just a little, you create space for peace to enter. It may not fix everything instantly, but it changes how you walk through it. Instead of being overwhelmed, you begin to feel supported, like you're not fighting this battle alone anymore. One of the hardest parts of going through a difficult situation is the silence. You pray, you hope, you wait, but nothing seems to move. No clear answer, no visible change, no sign that anything is happening. It can make you question everything, even your faith. You start wondering if God is listening or if He's chosen to stay quiet. But just because you don't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. Some of the most important things happen in ways you can't immediately recognize. Think about how many things in life take time beneath the surface before they show any results. Growth is often invisible at first. In the same way, God can be working in places you can't see, aligning people, shifting circumstances, preparing you for what's next. The delay you feel might actually be part of a bigger process. It's not easy to trust in something you can't see, especially when you're tired. But the absence of visible change is not proof that nothing is happening. Sometimes it just means the work is still in progress. When you're overwhelmed, it's easy to forget your own history. You focus so much on what's going wrong now that you overlook everything you've already made it through. But if you pause for a moment and think back, you'll remember times when things felt just as heavy, just as uncertain. There were moments when you didn't know how things would work out, yet somehow you got through them. Maybe it wasn't perfect, maybe it wasn't easy, but you're still here. That counts for something. You didn't come this far just to be defeated now. The strength that carried you through those past situations hasn't disappeared. It's still in you, even if you don't feel it right now. Sometimes, reminding yourself of where you've been helps you see that this moment, as hard as it is not impossible. You've faced challenges before, and you found a way through them. This situation is different, yes, but you're not starting from zero. You're carrying experience, resilience, and a history of making it through. There are days when you feel like you have nothing left to give. You're tired, mentally and emotionally, and even small things start to feel overwhelming. It can feel like you're expected to hold everything together, to stay strong no matter what. But the truth is, you were never meant to carry everything on your own. Strength isn't about pretending you're okay when you're not. It's about recognizing when you need help and allowing yourself to lean on God. There's a difference between forcing yourself to keep going and being supported as you move forward. When you rely only on your own strength, you eventually run out. But when you allow God to be part of it, you're not drawing from a limited source anymore. It doesn't mean the situation disappears, but it means you're not facing it empty. Even in your weakest moments, there is still strength available to you. You just don't have to generate it all by yourself. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is admit that you need that support. Waiting can be one of the most frustrating experiences, especially when you feel like you've done everything you're supposed to do. You've prayed, you've tried, you've stayed patient, but nothing seems to be happening. It's easy to start thinking that maybe it's just not going to work out. The longer it takes, the more doubt creeps in. But a delay doesn't automatically mean a no. Sometimes things take longer because there are other pieces that need to come together first. Timing matters more than we often realize. Something that feels late to you might actually be right on time in a bigger picture you can't fully see. It doesn't make the waiting easier, but it does change how you interpret it. Instead of seeing it as rejection, you can begin to see it as preparation. There may be things being aligned, lessons being learned, or growth happening within you that will matter later. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. It simply means you're still in the waiting part of the process. Feeling alone can make any situation feel 10 times heavier. Even when you're surrounded by people, you can still feel like no one truly understands what you're going through. You might keep things to yourself, not wanting to burden others, or maybe you've tried to explain but felt misunderstood. That kind of isolation can make you feel like you have to handle everything on your own. But you're not as alone as it feels. God sees what others don't. He understands the parts you can't put into words, the thoughts you don't share, and the weight you carry quietly. Even in moments when you feel disconnected, that connection hasn't disappeared. It's still there. You might not always feel it, especially when emotions are high, but feelings aren't always reliable indicators of truth. You're not navigating this by yourself, even if it seems that way. There is still support available to you, even if it doesn't come in the form you expected. You're not forgotten, and you're not unseen. When you're dealing with a big problem, it's easy to feel like nothing you do is enough. You look at the situation as a whole, and it feels overwhelming, like it's too much to fix. That can make you feel stuck, like there's no point in even trying because you can't solve everything at once. But progress doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small steps, often so small that you might not even notice them at first. Getting out of bed, making one decision, taking one action, these things might seem minor, but they matter. You don't need to have everything figured out today. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to keep moving, even if it's slowly. Each step you take creates a little bit of momentum. Over time, those small steps add up to something bigger. It may not feel like much in the moment, but it's still progress. And progress, no matter how small, is still movement in the right direction. It's easy to feel connected to God when things are going well. When life is smooth, faith feels natural and effortless. But when things get difficult, that's when your faith is really tested. Doubts come in, questions arise, and it becomes harder to hold on to what you believe. You might feel like your faith is weak because you're struggling, but struggling doesn't mean you've lost your faith. In fact, choosing to keep believing even when things are unclear is one of the strongest expressions of faith. It's not about having everything figured out or feeling confident all the time. It's about holding on, even when you don't fully understand what's happening. Faith in hard moments looks different. It's quieter, more intentional, and sometimes even fragile. But it's still real, and it still matters. The fact that you're still trying, still hoping, still turning toward God in some way, that says more about your faith than you might realize. There are moments when hope feels distant, almost like something you used to have but can't quite reach anymore. When things don't improve and the situation drags on, it's natural for that sense of hope to fade. You start to feel like maybe expecting things to get better is just setting yourself up for disappointment. But hope isn't just a feeling. It's something deeper than that. Feelings can change depending on what you're going through, but hope doesn't have to disappear just because you don't feel it strongly right now. It can exist quietly in the background, even when emotions are low. Holding on to hope doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is fine. It means allowing the possibility that things can still change, even if you don't see how yet. You don't need to force yourself to feel hopeful all the time. Sometimes it's enough to simply not give up on the idea that better is still possible. And right now, that's more than enough.